Hi everyone, my name is Ikenna Bishop Sagweji. I'm the Executive Director of Life Challenge Nigeria. We are the regional provider of Life Challenge Academy. Life Challenge Academy is the training and certification initiative of Life Challenge International, where we train and certify Christian addiction professionals on biblical addiction counseling. In Life Challenge Nigeria, we provide prevention and recovery program to address the issue of addiction and substance use disorder in Nigeria. And I'm happy to welcome you to this edition of our documentary that tries to look at the issue of substance use disorder and what the church could do or is doing. In this episode, we have gone into the streets to hear from the users, and also we'll be getting the opinions of professionals and other stakeholders within the Christian community so that we can better understand the role the church could play and the things that perhaps have been hindering the church from meeting its obligation and also fulfilling the mandate of being the salt and light that Jesus has made us to be. And so, as you watch, I want to invite you to really think how you can also get involved. This is not a time to sit on the fence. This is a time to get involved, because addiction is really a very big menace in our society. Addiction has destroyed more lives than the two world wars combined. And that is why in Life Challenge, we say that addiction is the greatest enemy of humankind. And to overcome or conquer this enemy, all hands must be on deck. And the church should also play a critical role to see that this mission is fulfilled. Thank you, and God bless you.
I started using substances, I think I'm in XS1. It's like I said, sometimes it's due to the environment that you find yourself. When we grow up, many things we see as a child is what we learn. I will tell you that I just grew up and I found myself in addiction. You ask me the situation, maybe I can't tell you. If you ask me everything they provide for me, but I will tell you that to me, it's the society that I grew up from, the kind of things that they do around. Many people, sometimes the parents don't even have time to take care of the children, and most of my age, that time they do drugs. So when I go into them, they have nothing to offer to me than that drug. That's how I became addicted, and I found myself I'm already addicted. But now I'm trying to find a way out of that addiction. But the government are not helping. The rehab is for us, but we can't go to the rehab.
I came here to smoke because of I don't have anything to do. That's why I'm trying to look for a job. I didn't have a job. So sometimes I used to come here to smoke because of I don't have a job to do. I started smoking, I was in school. I was in primary school. We used to go, me and my friends, back of class to smoke because of we come to school to learn. But some of our teachers, they will drive us to class and we will sit outside, no teaching, but some they are teachers them. So we don't have anything. Some of our friends will draw us to go and smoke back of class. We will follow them because of we don't have nothing to do. And we don't used to go home quick. We used to come back late. Parents will be insulting us, where are you coming from? We tell them we came from lesson. And it's not lesson, we just came to smoke. So that is the way I started smoking. I used to, any place I go to, I used to smoke, but not any kind of place I smoke because I'm a female.
As I'm born me for village, I've grown up. Since when they born me, I don't know my mother. Though no school, nothing I do. Make I learn something. I learn mechanic work. I finish. I see say that work myself, you know, they pay. I change the work again. I go back to carpenter. This early morning I come here to come smoke because I not get workshop. If I smoke now, during I dey forget some things. I fit go sleep. I know the reason some things.
Anguwa wannan muna sayar da giya ne, muna nima muna sayar da abinci. Da matasanmu yanzu dai sun riga sun taurara. Kowa da nashi zuciya. Wani yana da kokarin nima, wani kuma ba shi da magana nima ya taimake kanshi. Rashin aiki ne. Rashin aiki ne gaskiya, rashin aiki ne. Da ce suna aiki, an biya musu kudaden makaranta, su yi girma, ai da suna aiki yanzu. To tunda shike rashin aiki ne suna yi yanzu, suna irin ayyuka wannan ba abin da zamu ce.
Number one, I need rehab. Number two, I need capital to start up something that will make me not to be coming to that place as usual. Because I need something that will be distracting me. Because they say an idle man is a devil workshop. If I'm not idle, many things I won't have time to do. That's the two things that I need, rehab and capital to start something good for myself.
Yes, I want to stop it. Because if I have a work now, all these things, I will stop it because I'm a woman.
Kiran da ina so yi yanzu haka a taimake matasan yara wannan da aiki. Ko haka ramuka ne su yi su samu abin da za su ci, su fita hanyar ayyukan da suna yi wannan.
Most people are using drugs, and they're not using drugs because they want to use drugs. They found themselves in a situation. There are so many situations that can lead someone into drug use. It can be on unemployment. It can be as a situation of a broken home, and so many other things. And most people as well wanted to come out from the drug abuse situation, but they are helpless. In that situation, they should be able to identify someone they can discuss the issue of drug use that they have found themselves in. That is where the church comes in. The church can play a very important role by using scriptural and biblical teaching, can go a long way to help someone to stop using drugs, because it has been proved to be effective when scriptures are incorporated into counseling and rehabilitation.
We talk on the previous encounter I had with two boys like that. That was about 4 or 5 months ago. It's a friend that introduced me to them because I was on one program we had. The guy is good in playing keyboard. He's a keyboardist. And after the program, I tried to know where he's watching, try to interact with him. And I keep on inviting to come around, we can be friends. So at the process of that, so he started sharing a story how he was get involved in drug addicts. The one they called Lobe. He had become something without it he cannot live. Another one also called Solution. They say without it, if in need of it, no matter whatever you give him, he cannot listen to you. Even before he come to play this keyboard, he must take it so that he'll be able to be high before he'll be able to play instrument. So I tried to involve, how do you get involved with this? Say he's a friend when he was somewhere in Kaduna. So during that place with a friend, he tested it. From there, he had become part of him. And he also came to the area where I was residing. He has initiated many also become part of it. Many of them have become part of it. So that I get in contact with. It has been a hard work. Well, in several occasions, and even before coming down to town last week, I invited him. He promised me to stop. But the one thing he told me, even though when he's asking God to deliver him, sometimes he will decide not to, but when he meets with friends, he will still find himself in need. Which I keep on encouraging him. There's nothing called added that somebody cannot change, just something that is permanent. It's determined, it depends on our determination, and by the mercies of God, if we take it serious, determined to live it, we can live it. We are working with him and praying with him also.
I don't think the church is doing its best to help the youth on this matter. Some of them think it is parents' affairs, so they don't do much to help the youth. I think what is responsible to this is that they are not doing what they're supposed to do as shepherds of flocks. It's the duty of every pastor to know what the youth are up to help them in any way they feel that is biblical and it is good for the betterment of the youth. Before now, when I was in High Course, Kaduna here, we used to go out for evangelism, and we talked to some of them. There was in one of these occasions, I caught one of them with India hymn, and I sat him down. I told him the side effects of what he was doing, and he surrendered it to us. By the special grace of God, today he's a transformed person. I have so many of them around me. I am not happy about it. I see destiny is being wasted. I see life, the devil, darkness covering the lights, the life of the family. By the special grace of God, I pray with some of them. Sometimes I sit them down to counsel them. Last week we went out for evangelism. I met a lady that she stayed permanently in hotel, and she told me what she does. She's into drugs. She doesn't even go back home to sleep, and because she's into cocaine, she's always looking for alternative to get money that should be buying those substances to be taken. And I told her, this is not the right place for you to be. Please, you have to get out of this place. And after I've preached to her, prayed with her, she decided to follow us. Today she's with one of our pastors. She's staying in their house, and he's taking good care of her. After we have narrated her problem, he decided to stay with her to help her. I'm limited financially. If I have what it takes, maybe to keep them with me, and then follow them up. What they need most, especially from the lessons we learn, they need care, they need love, they need motivation, and they also need a good environment, because some of them are coming from either bad background, where they were rejected, where they are not accepted. If you want to reach out to them, apart from the word, apart from the prayer, they also need to be cared for. I am trusting the Lord, and I'm believing God that as the Lord will help me, I may not take 20 of them, I may not take care of 10 of them, but as the Lord will help me, at least 2, I can take care of them by God's grace.
Addiction is the greatest enemy of human race. Addiction is enemy of us all, because it affects the individual, it affects the family, it affects the society, and the church is part of the society. So when it comes to issue of addiction, the church is very much affected, in the sense that When you look into our youth, the youth session, not only the youth, when you look into the church, you find out that most of the people you see out there, maybe in the jungles and all that, doing, being addicted, they are all members of the church. So the church cannot pretend that they don't know the effect of addiction. It's ravaging our churches, and we can no longer keep quiet. The church should not keep quiet. The future generation of the church is at stake. The church is very much concerned. We see situations around us. We see our children being involved. But because the church lacks the capacity, they cannot handle the menace. So the church is not doing as much as it ought to do vis-a-vis the enormity of addiction that is ravaging our youth. So the church has more to do. And I want to, attach it to the fact that they don't know what next to do. That is why they are not doing as much as they should do against this enemy called addiction. The church has a good heart, so to say. So for the church to be effective, the church needs to be trained. It's not as if there is no answer to the problem of addiction. There is definitely an answer. But when you don't know how to get the answer, you wouldn't know how to solve your problem. Now the church should open up and be trained so that the church can address this enemy, face the enemy squarely, face to face. This enemy can be subdued, and I can assure you that the church has the answer. The church has all it takes. The only problem is that the church doesn't know how to use what is at her disposal. So the church needs to be trained to tackle the issue of addiction in our society and amongst our youth too. Like the training, in every church, or will I say every denomination, we have the counseling unit. And these addicts, for those of us that go out to speak to them, speak the word of God to them, you find out that once you speak to them, they want to change. They are not happy with the state they are in. We know what addiction is doing. It's just destroying their destinies. They themselves, they are not happy. And they come face to face with the counselors. Every Sunday when altar call is made, they come out to give their lives to Christ. When you meet them, you preach to them, they want to change, but they cannot change because they don't know how. So the counseling unit of every denomination should be properly trained on how to handle the problem of addiction. There are many training platforms. Some of the platforms are ISOP. ISOP stands for International Society of Substance Use Professionals. We also have webinars. We have also networking, a lot of networking. And most importantly, I will talk about Life Challenge Academy in Nigeria, where we groom counselors on how to go about counseling the addicts. And those of them that have been opportune to go through our training, they are making waves. They are having better results, evidence-based results when they counsel the addicts. Now, it is not anymore something vague. You just pray and all that. There are too many things to do to help an addict stay free. An addict can actually be set free. He is not an addict for life because he was not born an addict. So if the church will open up and engage all these training platforms, they will do better in their counseling, and they will also help our youth.
Yes, I will advise someone who is going through the challenges of addiction to go to a church. But that should be on the basis that the church knows about addiction counseling. You discover that most pastors in the church they are not really in depth in how to help people recover from addiction. Apart from the fact that we all know smoking is bad, drinking is bad, we can, pastors can preach towards that direction. But taking them through the processes and helping them come out of it completely is what we are actually concerned with. If they are going to such a church, are they going to help them come out of the addiction completely? And you also know that there are some people who don't even want to go to churches, especially when it comes to addiction. For instance, if you are in a community and that's where you live and your parents are not even aware that you are into addiction, going to your pastor in the same church where your parents attend is a problem, because by your going, your parents will know that the child is involved in addiction. So many things have to be put in place before you can actually recommend the church to people to go. If they have to be there to recover from addiction, the church should go through proper processes of learning how to help those who are into addiction. If that is done, everything is okay. Most churches don't even have units for addiction. Some have not even identified it as a major problem. Some churches haven't identified it. Some have identified it and they are doing little to help or to curb the problem. But some have not even identified it as a major problem at all. That is why, like I said earlier, the churches need to be informed. They need to be trained. Pastors need to go through trainings on addiction, because when they know what addiction is, they know the side effects and they know how to help people come out of it. It will be easy to stand and tell people about addiction, not just preaching from the pulpits. That's not what we are saying. It's possible for a pastor to stand on the pulpit and begin to say, thou shalt not smoke, thou shalt not do this. All of that is not what the people want to hear. They want somebody who understands them, who they can confide in, somebody they can really go to and admit that, yes, addiction is a problem I'm going through and I need help. As it is now, most people can't even do that with their pastors in the churches. It shouldn't just be the job of pastors alone. There should be units set up, units on addiction counseling. Just like we have units on marriage counseling, there should be units on addiction counseling where people you have identified or who have identified themselves and say they need help. Because for instance, before you can even go out to say you want to help someone who is into addiction, the person himself should identify he has a problem and he needs solution. So such people who have identified they have problems and they need solution should be taken to that counseling unit.
As a clinical psychologist, there is a religion side of the psychology that we need to put in place for people who are abusing substances. And we cannot neglect the fact that religion plays a vital role in the life of every individual, irrespective of what the religion is. But we are talking about the Christian faith here. Now, where we are coming from, aside being a human being, the next thing that governs us, that leads us, that helps us grow much better and give us an impact in the society is the religion. Now, the Christian faith helps us in modeling our life, modeling our lifestyle. It will help a great deal to people as a psychologist to preach about addiction, the substance use, and what it takes, the effect of it to the Christian faith and to the entire believers. It affects their cognitions, it affects their way of life, it affects the way they do things, it affects their productivity and affects their faith. Because when people are abusing substances and they are become addicted, now it affects the way they think, it affects the way they believe even in God, because to them at this point the substance becomes more of a God to them. Because if it is not taken care of, it can lead them to what we call substance-induced psychosis. Now it means it has affected you and has removed you from the faith we are actually trying for us to, we are running the race so that we could meet our Creator tomorrow. This substance will remove us from being where we are. So the church need to help. Christians need to help. When I say the church, I mean Christians in particular need to become an instrument of change to those who are abusing substances, so that it will have a meaningful life, redefining their lives and giving them a hope for life after now. There are so many ways the church can provide help to those who are addicted or those who are abusing substances, so to say. Number one, it is not enough to only preach. Preaching and leading them to understand that is after giving them the required therapy that they have, they are expected to have. Now you need to know what is actually the situation, what is their trigger, what led to it. You need to go back to even psychoanalysis, to the time where they started. How did they come into abusing these substances? When you discover it through counseling in the church, leading them to Christ, empowering them after you have allowed them with their consent that they are actually coming out of this one. The next thing the church should help is to give them what we call empowering avenues. The church need to empower these people, because one of the reasons why these people abuse substances is idleness. When a child is idle or youth are idle, what they retire back to do is looking for something, a euphoric substance that will make them feel okay with the society. There's unemployment, where the church need to help where necessary to help them get employed. Those who have skills have a way of helping them to cope with their group, and then helping them to stay in where they are supposed to stay, redefining their lives, telling them and giving them hopes of where they're supposed to be. Without those empowerment, without them having where to stand and be working with themselves so that they can have their psychomotor in place to use it, they will always relapse and go back to their substances when they are idle. So the church needs to play a vital role in this situation, and where I feel the church is still lacking, we need to play an environment, an enabling environment for those substance users, that we are trying to help them to come out of them. If we don't, you might remove them, you might successfully in your therapy remove them out of the substance use, but they will certainly relapse because they are still idle, and an idle man is a devil workshop. The church itself is a collection of different people. It doesn't mean that from the post of the church I am quite conversant with the orthodox setting, and the number of those who abuse substance are much, but we can have individuals. There are organizations within the church. There are people who work within the church or outside that can help. The church itself can have a welfare committee and a welfare session who helps these people. It doesn't matter the level at which they do it. Now, some pastors, thank God for now, there are some of them who actually have the capacity but don't have the resources to do it. And workload in the church is much. But if actually evangelism is actually the watchword, and we actually want to save these people from perishing with drugs, then the church needs to go extra mile to look for assistance outside, look for within and outside even your church. There is supposed to be a synergy within the Christian faith with churches to have an organization, Christian-based organization, that will help these people who are addictive. People who are addictive to substance are helpless. Until they are helped, they will never see reasons why they should remain in the church. Because the reason why we go to church, if you collect offering in church every day, we collectively collect offering, and I work in the church, and if there is a challenge with someone who is falling by the side, there should be help. Now, there is the need for retraining of pastors. Pastors need to be retrained on counseling skills so that they will be able to help them. Other than praying, prayer, I am not saying prayer will not help anybody who is using substance. But you know what? Paul said, I need my physical discipline for my spiritual to grow. If we are not physically balanced, the spiritual will have problem. So we need to have more counseling skills from the pastors who will know the nitty-gritty of what it takes to counsel and to guide these people, removing them from where they are so that they will not relapse. If they relapse, what happens? Not to bring those people who are abusing substances and begin to cast away evil demons from them. We must take note that it is not everybody who abuses substance that is demonic. Substance itself look demonic because the attributes of people who abuses substance like marijuana, alcoholic, speak like people who are possessed. So it is not prayer alone. Counseling skills need to be in place. Humanistic therapies need to be in place so that it will help these people. Now, when you talk about the empowerment, the church has to come together, seek for help from meaningful individuals who have the resources that will be able to help one or two people. Some of these people just need few little things to set them on, and they will be fine and they will be okay. Thank you so much.